Hi again, everybody, and welcome to Rougher Football here on TV 15. Bill Huddleston, along with the coach of the Roughers. Coach, got the start you wanted, 3-0, headed into the real season.
It is, and as we've said before, we're glad to be 3-0. We'd be lying if we weren't, but we're no closer to the playoffs than if we were 0-3. But it sure is a lot better to be at 3-0. You don't have as many question marks and things that you're worried about. We got a good Ponca City team. I know that sounds crazy to a lot of people. They think that it's always just an easy win, but they're a very good football, especially defensively this year. They've got a great defense. They've got up 3, 7, and 21 in their 3 games. Last week, Collinsville finally figured it out a little bit and got 21 points and gave them their first loss. Sure. But they're excited over there. They got new facilities, and it's going to be a heck of a ball game. But the main thing is this last week we had a great homecoming. Won the ball game, did it like we should. I really thought was the better football team, but you don't want to go out there and just out-athlete them. You want to go out there and execute, and we did execute on both sides of the ball.
What a crowd last Friday night. I mean, from end zone to end zone on that home sideline, there was nothing but a sea of green.
Yeah, and I was told that they had, which we always have a few that sits
Sure.
on that other side, but there was a good portion of people over on the visitor side too. So it was good to see everybody back. The alumni band they had and some of the class reunions and just seeing the stands full, because last year on homecoming we was playing Ponca City and had the quagmire like it is out there today, and just 100 people maybe in the stands, and I don't blame them. It was raining. It was very miserable last year.
Well, that's why we do the live stream, so then in weather like that you can also stay at home and watch the deluge that was happening out on the field. But speaking of a big win for the Roughers, 62-15 was the final score. Coach, we got a lot of offensive highlights to talk about from last Friday night's win over Ponca City, so let's roll the videotape and we'll show some of those scores.
I think this is the second play of the game. We have a little bootleg here, and Kentrell Mitchum had a great night, his best as a Rougher so far. Of course, he continues to punt the ball well, but got his touchdown here, 40-yarder to start off, has another one later on,
Just
had
getting
3
better every
catches.
week.
He is, here's another one.
Wide open.
Ty had another great game. Only had 1 missed pass. Is 12 for 13 for 202 yards and 5 touchdowns. Here's a young man that had a great night. We didn't talk about Jimmy on the last play because he's just his normal. It's sad when you think 10 carries for 152 yards is just a normal night for Jimmy, and here he goes off on one of his 68 yards.
Right here, Coach.
Yeah, because we know how fast that number 3 was. It was chasing him because he had outran us all a while ago on offense. But Jimmy, he's special. But Isaiah Givens, who's in there, number 25, sophomore, he had 2 touchdowns, and then we'll talk about him at the end too. There's Connor Ashley getting his first touchdown of the year. 3rd pass, I think this one's the one that goes to Zapata. Yeah, Antonio catches his first touchdown of the year. And then here's the last one that's going to end up going to David Timmons, I believe, yes. I was really proud of the deep ball. We've been struggling. We've been doing a good job with the bootlegs. Here's Isaiah on the last score of the night. He's going to be a great tailback next year. He'll have to carry the load for us with Jimmy being gone next year, but he's a big physical back. And then our favorite formation in football, the victory formation. And, of course, then here just after that, we have right before that set that up was the Isaiah Givens with his interception and probably the best play of the night, because a young man that's a sophomore could have gone 95 yards up the sideline there, and instead he just slid down and took it because, like he said, we didn't need it, and that probably got him more notoriety than if he would have taken it the distance, because the Putnam City coaches just couldn't believe enough that he would do that for them and did it. And we, I would like to take credit. We talk about not needing things, but he was smart, because I'm not sure as a senior I wouldn't have been trying to high step down that sideline, and get that touchdown. So it was very, an unselfish move on his part and very classy.
Indeed it was, and it just shows as you've been you've been striving to build with not just seniors, juniors, sophomores, and even some of the incoming freshmen, to build that mental toughness and that extra effort, but also to have that maturity level. And I think with what we saw with Isaiah in his decision to take the slide, take a knee at the end of the ball game was pretty impressive.
Very impressive. Like I said, I've seen a lot of things over 27 years, and that was one of the most unselfish acts I've ever seen.
Indeed it was. Isaiah Givens, good job, my man. When we come back, we're going to talk a little bit more about this week's opponent, because it is the Play for Keeps season. We start district play, and it's back on the road again for the Roughers, 3rd time in the first 4 meetings. A trip over to Ponca City to take on the Wildcats, who will come in at 2-1. We'll talk more about that game plan with head coach Rafe Watkins following this timeout here on TV 15.
Our facilities are a bit outdated compared to others. They have more than enough, and we're fighting just to have enough.
The Made for More 2019 Student Investment Plan is about our kids and the future.
Our kids deserve this. Our town deserves this. Our teachers deserve this.
I just don't see why our students wouldn't be worth it. If we're not worth it, who is? If our community's not worth pouring into, then what community is?
Welcome back on TV 15. Bill Huddleston with the coach of the Ruffers, Rafe Watkins. And like we said going into the break, Rafe, at the start of the season, everybody expected Bixby to be the team to chase, not only in this district, but in 6A too. Names like Booker T. Washington, Sapulpa were in that constant conversation for playoff positions, along with the Ruffers. Nobody anticipated Ponca City, though, to have had such a strong showing, albeit this is a picture that you've seen coming since last year.
I thought that they did a really good job. You know, we played them in the rainstorm and had a tough time with them, but then later on as the year, they continued to get better and get better. They got the big wins over Shawnee and over Bartlesville, and so they finished up, I think, fifth or sixth, I guess, in the district last year. And Coach Harmon, you know, he knows how to win.
He does.
He has a state championship at Hominy. Albeit a smaller class, it doesn't matter. It's all state champions. It's all relative. He's a state champion coach and does a great job, and he is aware of the people in Ponca City because his dad was the head coach there years ago. And so he's done a great job in a short amount of time already. They're getting the new facilities there. They've got the new indoor. They've got the weight room and the coaches' offices. They're doing it the right way, and he's getting after it. And we knew that they were going to be a pretty good ball club. They're sitting at 2-1 right now, averaging only giving up 9 points a game. They're solid defensively. Offensively, they got a good quarterback, 2 good wideouts. You know, that one reminds me a lot of the kid that's at Tulsa, Kelly, that we double covered over there in that scrimmage. He's not very big. He's only 5'5", but he can fly, so he'll give us plenty to worry about. But I think with our secondary starting to mature a little bit, having Ty in there also as a safety, you know, it's one thing that still scares me about having our quarterback back in there, but he makes such a difference because he is such an athlete back there. That interception he made last week is as good as I've seen in a long time. The kid had the ball caught. He comes over the top, rips it away, and comes up with the interception. And so there's a reason why Division I schools are seeing him as a safety.
What about on the offensive game plan going against Wildcats? Because, like you said, they're very solid defensively and very strong against the run.
Well, over the years, we've just gotten so used now. Everybody's running a 3-4 defense or a 4-2-5, and you see that every week. For a while back in the early 2000s, Bixby kind of made it famous around here because of Tulsa and Todd Graham, that odd stack defense, the 3-3 stack. That's what Ponca City's running right now, and they run it very well. You're always going to get gap control, and you're going to have 2 linebackers coming in, big gaps, and the ends going on the outside or vice versa. They're going to be gap control, and they put a lot of pressure on you. They're a risk reward. You know, we might go 6-7 plays where we're getting 0 yards, but then we might make a 60-yarder. So it's going to be, we're going to have to be patient offensively. We do feel like there's a couple of matchups that we like on the perimeter, but they got 2 lockdown corners that play very well, and overall they're a very, very good. Got one linebacker, number 7, that he had probably 15 tackles against us last year. Does a great job running sideline to sideline. Got a safety that's number 2 that's a very good player as well, and 3 I think is one of the best corners we faced yet this year. So they're going to be all we want and then some.
Well, a road win to start district play is almost like getting 2.
And the good thing is, you know, this is a long road trip. Luckily, we already had the one long road trip to Midwest City, so it's not going to be as bad, I don't think. At least we've got that kind of under our belt. We've already been on the road twice, and we're out of school on Friday, so that's one thing you always worry about. But we got a pretty good routine that we keep them to, and keeping them busy all day and keeping as much of a routine as they can. And we'll get up there, and we won't be in any hurry, and get up there to Ponca City and go out and play as well as we can.
Well, hopefully just go out and take care of business and do what the Ruffers do. Come home with win number 4.
That's what we're striving to do.
Ruffers will go to Ponca City Friday night. It is a 7 p.m. kickoff with our pregame show on the live stream delivery at rufferfootball.com or on the Muskogee Athletics app. And then, of course, it's also live on radio at 101.7 Okie Country, KTFX. We'll start that pregame at 6:30, kickoff at 7, and about 2.5 hours later, hopefully we'll have a sideline visit with a happy head coach because it's 4-0.
That's the plan. 1-0 more importantly.
Absolutely. 1-0 in the district, looking for number 2. For head coach Rafe Watkins, I'm Bill Huddleston, as the Ruffers continue to ttry and win every day the Muskogee way, because it's always a great day to be a Ruffer. Goodbye, everybody.